What's going on, guys? So today I just wanted to gauge playoff teams, look at teams in both conferences and just look at where they're at, a month before, the playoffs come. Most teams have about 14, 15 games left. Some teams have clinched already. And just talk about playoff teams. We're right around the corner from the playoffs and, we're really trying to get to that point. Most teams are trying to get to that point. All this now is a seeding competition. So let's get into it. First place I want to start is the Western Conference, specifically that 2, 3, 4, 5 in the Western Conference. We got the Houston Rockets at 2, Denver Nuggets at 3, Lakers at 4, and Grizzlies at 5. And you can kind of group in the Warriors. They're kind of close, but those first 4 teams I mentioned, they're a game, next to each other. And I think it's going to be very interesting how, that ends up. You're right. Right now you got the Rockets is number 2 currently. I guess they hold the tiebreaker over the Nuggets currently. And, a few weeks ago, the Rockets, or not a few weeks ago, I should say a few months ago, the Rockets were, one of the surprise teams in the league, right? As how good they were. Amin Thompson was playing good ball. Alperen Sengun was an all-star. And they're still one of the best defensive teams in the league. And they kind of took a back seat, maybe last week they were probably the 5th seed. And it wasn't looking too well for them. But, as of now, they're the 2 seed. And honestly, I don't know how teams feel about them, seeing them in the playoffs. I think that the Rockets are an upstart young team. They got so much energy. Ime Udoka, possibly the coach of the year. I don't know how teams, maybe teams want to see him because they're just so young, in the playoffs is, so predicated on experience and things like that. But I don't know, that isn't an easy first round matchup, man. Especially you got to go to Houston, man. They loud over there, the way they play. You got Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet getting rowdy, he hitting people and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna, it's gonna be. It's kind of like a be careful what you wish for type of thing, right? Like, I don't know if do you really want to see those guys? I don't know. The Nuggets at number 3 too. Yeah, they're fighting for that 2 seed too. But I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of the Nuggets this year. I'm not a big believer in them, to say the least. I still think that they'll probably get to the Western Conference Finals just because how good Jokic is. But I think, I think we're all, to this point in the season, I think most people are expecting the Thunder to make it to the Western Conference Finals, right? How good they've been. And I think if they were to see the Thunder, who, I'm a fan of, I don't think it'd be, it's going to be a hard series because Jokic and Murray and, they just have so much supporting pieces. Mike Malone is a good coach. But I think, that'd probably be a 6-game series, in my opinion. I don't think they're, as good as they were last year or a few years ago. They also haven't been really good against, the top competition, when they have played. They struggled recently. They lost to the Wizards, and then, you barely beat a Lakers team that didn't have LeBron and Luka. And I don't know. I don't know how to gauge this team right now, to be quite honest. But maybe things change in the playoffs come. But I don't know. You also got a team like the Lakers here, who ever since they got Luka, man, they've been looking amazing, right? Him and LeBron, they were going crazy. I can't lie. I guess I don't know. I think people also were kind of I don't want to say overrating them, but once you get to that point where, oh man, they're gonna go to the finals, it's like, let's slow it down a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But I can kind of see it with the team they got. They get the right matchups, so they could definitely go on a run. Their big is a big problem. Not a big problem, but they're in the Western Conference, you're always gonna play a good big, you know what I'm saying? You look at the Thunder, they got Hartenstein and Holmgren, and then the Rockets, they got Sengun. Nuggets got Jokic, of course. Grizzlies got Jaren Jackson. Timberwolves, Naz Reid, things like that. So we'll have this. The Grizzlies here are also another very interesting team. They've been kind of up and down this season, although they are the 5th seed and literally just a game out of 2. It's been kind of hard for me to gauge how good they'd be, but in the past, few weeks, Ja Morant's been turning it up. I don't have the exact stats, but he's been hooping. I'll try to put it up on the screen, but Ja Morant, he's been looking good these past few weeks, and maybe when the playoffs come, when he comes to the playoffs, man, he's a different animal. him and Jaren could make some noise, and maybe they can go on a Western Conference Finals run they've been trying to go on for the past few years. Another team I'm also trying to gauge my interest on, or trying to see how good they are, is the Golden State Warriors. Ever since they got Jimmy Butler, they've had a 12.4 net rating, and that'd be the best in the league if that was a season-long, net rating. They've also went 15-2, but you look at the opponents they played in the last couple of weeks. Ever since they got Jimmy Butler, right? We can start from, I want to say February 11th, February 12th is when they got him. So Houston was the first game. That's a good team. Sacramento, Dallas, Charlotte, Orlando, Los Philadelphia, Charlotte, New York, Brooklyn, Detroit, Portland, Sacramento, New York, Denver, Milwaukee. I mean, how many of those teams can we say are, good, playoff teams? Or, I don't see any contender here, to be quite honest with you. But there are a few playoff teams, and then the rest of their schedule, after they beat Milwaukee last night, is Toronto, Atlanta, Miami, New Orleans, San Antonio, Memphis, Los Angeles, Denver, Houston, Phoenix, San Antonio, Portland, and Los Angeles Clippers. So I think for me, I can say that they're a good team, that's for sure. A contending team, I don't know. I don't know if I can see this team in the conference finals, let alone the finals. I haven't seen people call for that. But I don't know. I think like a few days ago, I was like, man, let me see how they look against Denver, right? Then Denver, they don't have Jokic or Murray, and they lose to a Denver team, off the back of Russell Westbrook triple-double, and Aaron Gordon was having 40. So I'm like, how good are they? It was just one game. And they played Milwaukee without Curry, and they beat them, right? And it's like, all right, so how good are they? I really don't know how to gauge it, but I think for them, maybe, right, because you always want to play your best basketball going into playoffs, and the schedule I just told you, right, the teams that they're playing, that's a pretty good schedule, right? Not two good teams. There's a few playoff teams in there, but you have a good, ending out to the season. You come into the playoffs hot. That's great. That's great for the team, and maybe they could do something right that, nobody wants to play Curry in the playoffs, I'll tell you that much. And I think that they'd be an interesting team in the playoffs. That's for damn sure. Let me go through the playing teams in the West real quickly. The Timberwolves, they've been hot ever since they got Randall back. Even before they got Randall back, they've been hot. They've been playing good basketball. It's going to be a tough out in the West, too. That could be a team. Right now, they're the 7th seed, I believe. Yeah, they play the Rockets. I'd probably pick the Timberwolves because they're good. They're so good right now, and they have the experience too. Anthony Edwards, I don't know who's stopping them on that team. Although I like Dillon Brooks and and Amin Thompson. I don't know how you scheme against him at the place he's playing. The Clippers, they've been playing well. Kawhi looking good, but you never know whenever it comes to the playoffs. With him, he's a, I don't know. It's tough for Kawhi. With the injuries and stuff, but. They got Harden, they got Powell. Tyronn Lue's always going to be a good schemer against a team. So maybe I don't really see them doing too much. They're probably a first round exit to me, but we'll see. Sacramento Kings, not much there. The Kings, they probably won't get in, to be honest. Dallas Mavericks, they kind of had a fire shot at the deadline, unfortunately. They're hurt too, so probably not gonna see them. And the Suns, I have nothing on the Suns, to be quite honest with you. The Suns are, nothing on the Suns. Let's look over to the East, and where we got the East leading Cavaliers. There's not much you can say about the Cavs, right? They're a 56-win team, best offense in the league by many metrics. Donovan Mitchell, he's a playoff riser. Evan Mobley's looking great this year, probably DPOY. But I think for me, like, is it gonna matter, right? Because not to sound like a a-hole or nothing, but like the Celtics, they're just so good, man. And when they're healthy and they're rolling, is there any team out east that could really stop? Is there any team in the league that could stop them? Right? I don't know. I might, if they were to meet, preferably in the Eastern Conference Finals, I'd probably pick the Cavs just for like, just for fun. Because everybody probably pick the Celtics, but are they really, in a 7-game series, could they really beat the Celtics? right? I don't know. I think that's an interesting thing about it. Like, we're probably, hopefully, gonna see that'd be the dream matchup to see in the Eastern Conference Finals. But can they do it? I don't know. Is this season all for nothing? Because the Celtics are just so good. I don't know. Then you got the Knicks here, who are third seed. Jaylen Brown's out right now with that ankle injury. Hopefully he can get back. But I mean, for me, I think I never really thought of the Knicks this year as a title contender. Although they made all those moves in the offseason, I never really thought of them as I thought this would be like the bridge year kind of. This would be a good year, and then next year they really get to running and looking good. And I mean, they look good this year, but just really look like a top contending team. But this I never thought this was the year for them. They haven't looked good against top competition. They're like 0-9 against the Cavs, Thunder, and the Celtics. So but they probably make it to the second round, and then they play the Celtics. That'd be a 5-6 game series in my opinion. So yeah, maybe we'll see. Then 4, 5, 6 out east is the Pacers, Bucks, and Pistons. This is probably how it's going to end up. Not exactly, but 4, 5, 6 is probably going to be locked up like this. I don't see any of these teams trying to, jump into Knicks, and none of the teams behind them are remotely close. So it's probably how it's going to end up. Pacers Bucks rematch. Right now, I'd probably pick the Pacers. I just think they're a better team. Although you could probably argue that the Bucks have the best 2 players in the series, but then 3 through about like 8 is probably the Pacers. And then they're probably better coach with Carlisle, Docker. I don't think anybody's having a conversation about how good those coaches are. But I don't know. I'm not really a big believer in the Bucks this season. Trading for Kyle Kuzma was something, but I don't really think that really fixed the real issue or issues that they really had for me. But playing Giannis in a series is always tough, and he's going to be healthy this year, so maybe that changes. Maybe I'm underrating Giannis' ability to put pressure on the team and to go out there and just win a series. But I'm not a big believer in the Bucks, to be quite honest with you. The Pistons, one of the surprise teams in the league this year. Not to me. I knew they were going to be a little better, not this much better, but they're a good team. I mean, relative to this, then maybe because they are better to what I thought, and the East is just not as bad as I thought it would be. But right, the Pistons are playing good ball. Kate Cunningham, he's going to be one of those guys, man. He goes to the playoffs. Whew. And that playoff debut, man, that's going to feed generations, man. And he's going to have good. Anything for them, they've already had a great season. Of course, they want to, every team wants to win the finals. Realistically, they're not going to win the finals, but they've had a great season. Anything that happens for them after that is going to be a cherry on top. So I love to see that team in the playoffs. Then at 7, we got the Hawks, who I like the outlook of their future, to be quite honest with you. Like I like what they got. They got Trey, Risa Shea, Jalen Johnson, who's out, unfortunately. He was one of my favorite players, when he was playing. He was playing so good. Onyeka. I like what they're building. Although they're the 7th seed, they're going to be a first round exit, probably get swept. I like what they've got. You know what I'm saying? They keep Trey. There's a lot of rumors with him before the season started. They keep Trey and build around him with those guys. Jalen Johnson, I think he could be an all-star next year. He could have been an all-star this year. How good they were. But he's only scratching the surface. He's only going to get better. Unfortunately, he got hurt, but they got something building. I believe in it. I think they keep following the course, and they'd be all right. Right. The Magic, unfortunately, they've been very disappointing this year. They just haven't looked good. They just haven't been able to put the ball in the basket, right? They started out, you get KCP, and you really hope that, he helps their shooting. But he hasn't really, been that good this season. Paulo got hurt early, then Franz got hurt, and then, Morris Wagner was out for the season, right? I don't know. And then when Paulo got back, he really wasn't, the team wasn't that good. he wasn't as good, and the team wasn't as good, and then it's just been a disappointing season. They're gonna have a big off season, coming this after the season's over. It's gonna have a lot of change. That's for damn sure. Last teams here, the Bulls and the Heat. All I gotta say for the Bulls, shout out Giddey. You know what I'm saying? The former Thunder. I always knew he was good. It's just that the timeline got so accelerated. We started winning so much we couldn't keep him to develop him. But he's looking good. Should you pay him $30 million a year? Shit, I don't know. I don't gotta answer that question. Thank God. And then the Heat. Not much I can say about the Heat. They look so bad. I mean, they're tanking. It's no secret that they're tanking now. We'll have to see. Bam's been disappointed this whole year for me. At least out here as an all-star. But hope you don't pay him. I'll tell you that much. I want to thank y'all for watching the video, and I'll catch y'all boys in the next one. Peace.